Let's make dinner for two in my crock pot. I'm going to show you how to make a small meatloaf and potatoes. To start, I have 1 pound of lean ground beef. I'm going to add like a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I hope I say that right. I always doubt myself. A tablespoon of ketchup. I'm also going to add like a tablespoon of dehydrated minced onion. You could use fresh. Here I have a seasoning blend of salt, pepper, and garlic. I'm going with a teaspoon, and maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. Here I'm adding like a tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley, 1 large egg going in. I'm also going to add breadcrumbs. What I did is I toasted 1 slice of bread. Once it was toasted, I just ripped it apart and I placed it into my food processor, and I just blended and pureed that until I got crumbs. If you have store-bought, use like a 1/3 cup. I think that'll work, or maybe a 1/4 cup. Okay, so now clean hands, I'm going to go in and just mix all of this up. Once this is all mixed, I'm going to set aside until I need it. Right now, I'm going to prep my russet potatoes because this is also going into the crock pot. If I had to guess, 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of russet potatoes works for this. And you want to make sure you peel the potatoes completely of anything green. So I'm just going to peel all of my potatoes. I'm going to rinse them all under cold water, and then I'm going to cut them into chunks. I've placed all of my potato chunks in a large bowl. I'm going to add the garlic, salt, pepper mix. I'm also going to add Montreal chicken seasoning. You can season your potatoes how you like. Salt and pepper works. Here I have some onion powder, and then I'm just going to give it a mix. And now I'm going to place everything into my 6-quart crock pot slow cooker. So I'm just going to pat out the ground beef into a loaf on one side. You could also place it in the center and the potatoes around it. That also works. Now for the potatoes on the other, I'm also going to add a little more seasoning on top, a little more of that Montreal chicken seasoning because I like it. Next, I'm going to make a sauce to top the meatloaf. Here in a small bowl, this is like a 1/2 tablespoon brown sugar. I'm going to add 1 or 2 tablespoons of ketchup and some A1 sauce. Obviously, I'm eyeballing, but like a tablespoon. Here I'm adding 2 teaspoons of chipotle peppers and adobo sauce that are chopped. And now I'm just going to give that a mix. That is my favorite way to make sauce for meatloaf. You can use just ketchup or just don't top it with anything. Some people just like it plain, which totally works. Okay, I'm going to try to spread that out as evenly as possible without letting it slide off on the sides. And now what I'm going to do is add a couple of tablespoons of softened butter. This is unsalted butter. You could use salted as well if you like. And I'm just going to add that right on top of the potatoes. Next, I'm going to cover with a lid, and I'm going to set this to a high heat setting. And I'm going to let this cook for about 3 to 4 hours or until everything is tender and cooked through. Okay. I'm making this brown gravy, and I like to use this brand. I bought it at like the World Market, and that's the instructions. But what I like to do is also add a little bit of beef bouillon powder. So this is what I'm doing for the gravy. I just need a small amount for what I'm making. So I'm using 4 teaspoons of this going into my measuring cup. And I'm going to use like a teaspoon. It's kind of like 3/4 of a teaspoon of beef bouillon powder. It's to taste. And now I'm just going to add hot boiling water, or just hot water from my water dispenser here. And at this point, I'm just going to give it a really good mix. And as it sets, it stays warm and it thickens. And I was going to make frozen peas, but I had none, so I just opted for a mix of canned corn and canned green beans. And even though this is more veggies for 2 people, I'll save the rest. And I'm seasoning it with some of that garlic, salt, and pepper with some butter. Let it cook and saute, and that's the veggies on the side. So it has been around 3.5 hours, and this is done. and dinner is almost ready. So check this out. So what I'm going to do is just give the potatoes a mix. You want to make sure that those are tender. I can already tell by moving them around they are cooked through. And I added no liquid other than the butter. So you see that the meat renders its own juices with the butter and everything cooks well. I'm going to garnish with some more fresh parsley, and it's time to eat. Also, I'm just going to slice this up right into the slow cooker. Like I said, I call this meatloaf for two because if it were just my husband and I eating, but my son's also going to eat, we would have leftovers. Leftover meatloaf makes the best meatloaf patty melts for the next day. And that's exactly what I plan on doing for my son and husband tomorrow. But this is it. Really simple crock pot dinner, all in one crock pot, other than the veggies. Maybe you can do a side salad. That's also something quick and easy. So gravy goes over the potatoes and dinner is ready. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.